Order! Order! You are an incorrigible delinquent at times. Behave yourself, man!
Trade between the UK and the EU partially recovered in February after a steep drop the previous month. But as our global trade correspondent Darshini David reports, there's still not enough data to make a judgment about the economic effects of Brexit.
The biggest changes in British trading arrangements for over 40 years meant a chaotic start to the new year for haulage boss Pete White.
Probably the worst, most difficult week I've had in this job in 20 years.
Weeks later, it's a different story as teething problems subside.
We're winning. That is the basic outlay of where it's going now. We've come to terms. We've put processes in place.
In February, the amount of goods we sold to the EU jumped by almost 47%. Dramatic, but that follows a plunge of 40% in January, while exporters struggled to get to grips with the new formalities and some stayed away from shipping goods altogether for fear of disruption at the border. That trade has now resumed, but we're still down in terms of exports, more than 10% on where we were a year ago, due to the pandemic and also as some companies still struggle with the new rules.
Hardest hit, food. This supplier provides a taste of home for Brits wherever they roam. Hailed as an export success story by the government, but a deluge of complex rules have forced it to limit sales to the EU.
We've seen huge disruption. We've seen a massive drop in sales. We've had to reduce our workforce by 40 people and we're moving those jobs into the EU. So I wouldn't say that's been successful at all.
To resume, it may have to hire more workers at a base in the EU. Whether it's to your taste or not, Brexit is here. The government, which has delayed similar controls on goods coming in, says it's working to support exporters who are still struggling. The EU accounts for 2/5 of our exports. Protecting that trade means preserving profits and jobs. Darshini David, BBC News.
Now, trade between the UK and the European Union rebounded in February after a slump in January caused by Brexit. Exports jumped by 46% compared with January, but many companies are still finding that post-Brexit red tape is strangling trade with the EU. As our business and global trade correspondent Paul McNamara now reports.
The economy is on the up. The movement might be tiny, but after a cataclysmic year, money is on the move. And in February, the UK economy grew by 0.4%. Getting goods out the door, though, has become harder. Part pandemic, part Brexit.
Since the beginning of the year, how many extra staff are you yet to take on?
We've taken on a 30 extra at this site and probably an extra 30 around the country, so 60, 70 in total.
And is that just to deal with Brexit red tape?
Just to do the processes and the paperwork extra.
That sounds pretty pricey.
There's more to come. We need at least another 20, 30 more staff, so we're constantly employing all the time.
Red tape plus a step into the unknown meant initial downturn. UK exports of goods to the EU collapsed from £13 billion in December to just under £8 billion in January as the new trade terms bit. That bounced back to £11 billion in February, but just two sectors accounted for nearly 2/3 of that recovery: cars and chemicals.
I think it was inevitable there was going to be an increase in February figures after the decrease in January. I think people just had caution. People just waited to see what would happen. Obviously, certain perishables had to carry on moving, but machinery and pharmaceuticals and other areas sat back and looked at stock holdings.
Things may have got slightly better, but Alan thinks it won't be until summer at the earliest firms find out what the new normal will be. And that new normal will depend on your business.
If you're dealing full loads, if you are a big blue chip company, the delays are hours. If you are a smaller SME business in the UK, it could be days, if not weeks, for you to tie up the paperwork and pay the duties and taxes to the state for you to get them goods.
OK, so smaller firms are disproportionately affected.
Absolutely.
One of those smaller firms is this tea company in Milton Keynes. Every year, 25 tonnes of tea is sent from here to the EU. Now,
when we used to get an order from Europe, it used to be, yay, great, you know, another order. And now it's like, oh, really? And that just seems sad and not right.
shipping that was once routine now borders on prohibitive. So the future written in these tea leaves, setting up an operation in the EU. More costs for the company, less tax revenue for the UK.
The more we looked at it, the more we realized this isn't a deal. You know, this is a separation. It's not really a deal. In many ways, it's the first time actually that a trade deal has been done where you come out less well off than you were before.
The government says it has provided money to help small companies adjust to these changes. But what small companies still don't know, exactly how costly and permanent these changes will be.